All right, and boom, we're live.
Boom.
Episode 77, second annual MMA Complete Superlative show for 2021. This was one of our biggest shows of last
Yeah.
year, and it was one of our, not our first shows, but it was like one of our first 20. So this is kind of a big thing. This is our second annual. This is the thing that this
Our
podcast is going to be
category.
built on, I guess. Maybe not
Hopefully
built
not.
on, but one of our first reoccurring segments.
Yeah, reoccurring segments. Yeah.
Right. So 2021 was a huge year for UFC. There was craziness. There was a lot of build on social media. The sport just gets bigger and bigger every single year. 2021 was no exception.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna text each champ and see what he thinks. Too.
Okay. So we got 4 categories. We could do 5 or 6 if we wanted to. The one thing that I don't really want to talk about is submission of the year. There was a bunch of submissions of the year, but it's so hard to really calculate which was the best, because how do you do that? Do you calculate like what was the smoothest transition to a submission? What was the coolest submission? Like, I don't really know how to put a variable, an actual statistic on submissions. So there was a couple that were pretty good this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if any stand out to you in particular.
Stand out to me. I mean, Oliveira.
Oliveira.
How many submissions this year?
Just the one against Poirier we just saw. The
Did he?
rear naked choke on his back. No, he only had 2 fights this year. One against Chandler, one against Poirier.
Huh.
His last fight before that was Tony Ferg. Yeah. That was 2019.
I've been out of the loop for a little bit, so I'm out of the loop.
But we do have 4 categories this year. You can see behind us: Fight of the Year, Knockout of the Year, Fighter of the Year, and Division of the Year. Division of the Year is one that UFC doesn't come out with. UFC comes out with all the others. Mm-hmm. UFC also comes out with Coach of the Year, which is no... There's 2 answers, and one is so much above the other. It's Trevor Whitman. Yeah, okay, Trevor Whitman won Coach of the Year by far. He has 3 title holders. I want to say his total record of the year was something like 37-2. Like I think it was 37-7. Mm. His gym was ridiculous. You got Usman, you got Namajunas, you have Gaethje, you have Corey Sandhagen, who didn't have a great year statistically, but fought in some amazing fights. Trevor Whitman is the best striking coach in the world, and for the UFC, statistically, he had the best year of any coach.
Yeah, probably best record, too.
I would assume so. Maybe not percentage-wise, but most wins, I would definitely say. The other person I would throw out there is Khabib. Khabib had one of the... everybody kind of realized it because his Dagestani training partners, like, Zabit Magomedsharipov wasn't healthy this year, but he's coming back next year, and that's a name to look out for in the featherweight division, Magomedsharipov. But you had Islam Makhachev, you have Magomed Ankalaev, you had so many other guys that rose to the top 5 of their divisions. That Khabib is also up there.
Rose's comeback's pretty epic. Come back to the top.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be definitely talking about Rose in a couple of these categories today.
Kamaru Usman might be Fighter of the Year, man.
So, is there one that you want to talk about first?
Fighter of the Year?
You want to go for Fighter of the Year first?
I think that's the easiest one for me to talk about.
Okay, let's do it. And
it's the easiest answer, I think.
So we do have a couple answers for Fighter of the Year. There's really several that stand above the others. So I'm going to talk about the top 5 mainly. But outside of the top 5, I want to give some honorable mentions. Dustin Poirier had a huge year, 2 wins against Conor, and he fought for the lightweight title. Didn't get it done, but in those 3 fights, he really rose to the top of the sport, one of the biggest names, and he did beat Conor twice, technically by TKO both times, so that's a huge accomplishment. Corey Sandhagen had a bunch of good fights this year. He almost beat Petr Yan. He knocked out Frankie Edgar viciously, and who was the third fight? He had a fight, TJ Dillashaw. He almost beat TJ Dillashaw earlier in the year as well. Yeah. 3 really great fights. Mm-hmm. Michael Chandler rose to one of the biggest names of the sport.
I would put...
I just want to give a couple honorable mentions. Islam Makhachev had an outstanding year, 2-0, and they were huge victories. We're going to see him in February against Beneil Dariush, fight for probably a number 1 contendership. And then Francis Ngannou and Juliana Pena both won titles this year and made a huge name for the top of their division. Juliana Pena, we just saw recently beat Amanda Nunes for the UFC women's bantamweight title in a huge upset. So those are the honorable mentions. They all had great years, but unfortunately they did not crack the top 5. So, top 5, I'm going to say this in ascending order, and then I think we're going to be able to have an easy pick. Maybe not so easy, but I think we should have an easy pick for Fight of the Year. Number 5, I had Max Holloway. Max Holloway was 2-0 this year, beat Calvin Kattar and Yair Rodriguez, both outstanding performances by Holloway. He landed over 200 strikes in both, and he has the record for the most strikes landed in a fight against Calvin Kattar with 440, which is fucking ridiculous. He had a fantastic year. We're going to see him fight Volkanovski sometime around March next year for the title.
Yeah.
The only thing that hurt him was that he didn't have any title fights. If he did have a title fight, if he won a title, he would be up there in the top 2. Cyril Gane rose to the top of the heavyweight division this year. He had 3 wins. He has cemented himself as maybe the best all-around heavyweight in the division.
Yeah.
We're going to see him fight on January 22nd, Austin's birthday, UFC 270 for the heavyweight championship. Cyril Gane had a great year, and he took apart Derek Lewis, took apart Tanner Boser, and he took apart Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this list is Blachowicz and Teixeira because, Glover.
Yeah, no, I didn't pay much attention to the
okay,
top 10.
all right, gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. Prochazka's going to be the future champ of that division.
Prochazka's absolutely going to be. We're going to see him in 2022. Prochazka should win the title, I do believe, in 2022 when Glover Teixeira decides to defend.
How much we put on that? I mean, how many units? I'm 10. 10 units, 20 units.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to really figure it out. We haven't seen Prochazka on the ground. Teixeira is a menace on the ground. If that fight goes to the ground, Teixeira is gonna have a really good shot to put him out. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. Coming in number 3 for Fighter of the Year, just my personal opinion, is Rose Namajunas. Rose Namajunas came back for her second tenured UFC strawweight women's championship. She beat Weili Zhang, who was rated in the top 3 before the year, twice. Once by knockout, once by decision. The decision was very close, but Namajunas did deserve it. And the knockout of Weili Zhang was one of the biggest of the year, which we will talk about later.
Yeah.
Rose Namajunas, not only that, but she became a star in the UFC's eyes again. Not that she already wasn't, but she surmounted her legacy even more this year. She had a fantastic year.
Yeah.
Number 2.
I'm sorry, I'm not coming up with
Number 2.
Well,
Charles Oliveira.
I agree.
Charles Oliveira has become the best lightweight since Khabib. I mean, it's not that much time has passed away.
No.
You don't think so? I don't mean like Khabib. Best ever. I mean in the last 2 years.
Let's see.
Like since Namajunas has left, Oliveira has become the best lightweight.
That beat Conor McGregor 3 times. Twice in a row.
And then Oliveira just
Michael Chandler.
Oliveira
guy that's
beat
never fought really in the UFC. He smacked Dan Hooker. And honestly, all Michael Chandler did is he did exactly what he did with Frankie Edgar back in 2017 against him in Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
He rushed at him, and Frankie Edgar didn't get knocked down, and that fight ended up being a draw. So who knows if Dan Hooker would have won if he didn't knock him out that quick.
Right.
That's just my opinion on it.
Either way, he had two. He had a title victory and a title defense. He had a title defense against Dustin Poirier, who is one of the best names in the sport.
Hyped up maybe a little bit because he beat the most hyped up name in the sport back to back. A lot of publicity.
I would give you
definitely hyped up.
I would give you this. I can see your reasoning for putting if you wanted to put Namajunas above Oliveira. Because Namajunas had 2 fights against a better ranked opponent. Weili Zhang, I would say, in her division is better.
Holloway above Oliveira, honestly, dude.
I wouldn't put Holloway up there because he didn't have any title fights. That's the biggest thing. Poirier had 2 title fights and he was 2-0.
Holloway could fight Ortega next, but
no, Holloway Volkanovski's already in the works. It's probably going to happen at 273, 272, which is
that he could have had a title defense maybe earlier, but they did that whole tough thing. They did the whole the tough house and the freaking
right. But when you lose 2 fights to the champ, you're gonna have to have a couple fights to come back, which is what he did in 2021. He surmounted himself as the number 1 contender, and he's rightfully so getting his title shot next year.
You could put Volkanovski up there. Too.
You absolutely could.
I think Volkanovski could be above Oliveira.
I do believe Volkanovski was only 1-0 in this year. He only had 1 fight. It was against Ortega. He did great, but I looked at this list. Fighter of the year.
Fight of the year, maybe, arguably, though. Like, crazy fight. Like
get into that in a second. So
arguably, maybe. I don't know yet.
I don't know if you're going to agree with this. I think you will. Number 1, the fighter of the year for UFC 2021, Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
Kamaru Usman was 3-0. 3 title defenses, Gilbert Burns, winner by knockout. Jorge Masvidal, the second time, winner by knockout. And then a unanimous decision victory over Colby Covington.
3 title defenses in a year to the guy that's been going on a roll for already the previous year.
Number 1 pound for pound ranked fighter for almost the entire year. Kamaru Usman, I don't think it's much of a choice. Kamaru Usman is the fighter of the year. And he has one of the best resumes of the year. Not only that, but he finished 2 of them, and he had a unanimous decision in the third one.
Yeah.
He only lost, really, you could say he lost the first round against Burns because Burns kind of knocked him down. But other than that, the only round he lost was the 3rd or 4th round against Colby. So you saw a guy have like 9 rounds and probably win 8 of them against Burns, Masvidal, and Colby, who were all at one time in the top 3 ranked of the division. That speaks for itself. For me, it's not a hard choice. Kamaru Usman, fighter of the year.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I think Gone up there is... I mean, he's undefeated still, so... That I think it's too high for him. Because he also didn't have a title defense either.
He did go 3-0, though.
I don't know. It's impressive because it's the heavyweight division.
Some other names
Ngannou's the champ.
Some other names you could say.
Ngannou should be above him.
Ngannou only won 1 fight. That's why. This is not like... I didn't put this in order. I kind of... No, it was just 1. He just beat Stipe.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. He's in... Yeah.
So some other names...
Is that his fault or Dana White's fault?
I would say it's both. Have you heard the shit that Dana White's saying? Like, Ngannou's on his last fight of his contract, and if he doesn't want to sign after the fight against Gain, like, Dana White's fine letting him go. That's what Dana said.
Khabib will eat that up.
Right. Yeah. And that's Dana's power play. He's not gonna. He's trying to sign for the money. I get it. But, like, whew, and if Ngannou beats Cyril Gane and Dana White doesn't sign him, Ngannou's probably going to go to Eagle FC. And that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, but who are you gonna hype him up to fight?
And that's the other thing. Eagle FC doesn't have a heavyweight division yet.
That's what I mean.
Anyway, some other names that we could put up there for has a contention for fight of the year. Valentina Shevchenko went 2-0 title fights. Jose Aldo went 1-1 or 2-1. Excuse me. He had a great year. He's top 3 in the bantamweight now. Yeah. Marvin Vettori had a really good year. Yeah. Brandon Moreno won the flyweight title. Derek Brunson had 2-0 this year, extending his win streak to 5-0. We're going to see him at UFC 272. Yeah. And Giga Chikadze. Yeah. Giga Chikadze's up there now. He's 2-0 this year, and he had a really great year. 2 first 2 round knockouts. Yeah. So those are my opinions for the best fighters of the year. I missed a couple names, but those were really the highlights.
Yeah. Brandon Moreno. Did you say his name?
Yep, Brandon Moreno won the flyweight title. He had a great year. So that is what we got for fight of the year. We will be right back to talk about. Well, we'll decide. We'll decide when we get back. Next superlative coming up.